Aloha kako! Welcome back to the Nepapakahana Online Professional Development for our 6th grade curriculum. Let's go from Mauka to Makai. In this video, we'll be covering Unit 4, Equivalent Expressions. Here are the Common Core standards that will be covered in this unit. Please feel free to pause this video if you would like to read them more thoroughly. If you have a copy of our curriculum, you'll be able to find all of these standards at the very beginning of the unit. As you can see, the standards in this unit are from the Common Core domain of expressions and equations, as denoted by the letters EE. The standards in this unit start with writing and evaluating numerical expressions with whole number exponents. Then the standards focus on reading, writing, and evaluating algebraic expressions. Next, there is a focus on generating and identifying equivalent expressions. This will provide us with the tools we need to use variables to represent numbers and write expressions when solving real-world or mathematical problems. The Unit 4 activity that we'll be reviewing for this video is the Module 10 Generating Equivalent Algebraic Expressions activity. In this activity, we'll be looking at a small high school on Hawaii Island. The students there are raising money to buy and plant koa and iliahi trees. Because big trees usually take a lot of time to grow, it's generally cheaper to buy saplings, which are baby trees. Here's what a koa sapling and an iliahi sapling look like. We're going to find out how much money each of the grade levels raised. The letter K is a variable that will represent the cost of a koa tree. The letter H will represent the cost of an iliahi tree. We'll read the stories about each grade level and use those stories to write algebraic expressions with K and H. On the left are stories about each of the 4 high school grade levels, and on the right is a list of algebraic expressions. We're going to match each story on the left with at least one expression on the right. Some stories will be matched with more than one expression if there are any equivalent expressions. Let's do the first one together. In the freshman class, each student raised enough money to buy 3 koa and 2 iliahi trees. There were 7 students. 3 koa and 2 iliahi can be written as the expression 3k plus 2h. This is the amount of money that was raised by one student. There were 7 students, so we can take this expression and multiply by 7. This is given by the third expression on the right-hand side. 7, open parentheses, 3k plus 2h, close parentheses. If we distribute the 7, then we'll have the equivalent expression 21k plus 14h, which is the first expression on the right. Now let's take a look at the sophomore class. The students raised enough money to buy 4 koa trees and 6 iliahi trees. Then a local company decided to double the money that they raised. Please pause the video to find the expressions or equivalent expressions that best represent the amount of money that the sophomore class raised. Okay, so 4 koa and 6 iliahi trees can be written as the expression 4k plus 6h. This is the amount that the students originally raised, but the company doubled the amount to 2 times open parentheses 4k plus 6h close parentheses. This is the second expression in the list. If we distribute the 2, then the 4k becomes 8k and 6h becomes 12h. Addition is commutative, so 8k plus 12h is equivalent to 12h plus 8k, which is the third expression from the bottom of the list. We're going to skip the stories about the junior and senior classes and move on to part 2 of this activity. In part 2, we'll suppose that each koa tree costs $90 and each iliahi tree costs $110. We'll use this information and the previous algebraic expressions to find the actual amount that each class raised. Looking back at the freshman class, we saw that we have 2 equivalent expressions that we can use. 21k plus 14h and 7 times open parenthesis 3k plus 2h close parenthesis. They're both equivalent, so it doesn't matter which one we use. Let's use 21k plus 14h. As we previously read, each koa tree costs $90, so K is 90. Each Iliahi tree costs $110, so H is 110. Because K is 90, we can replace K with 90, and because H is 110, we can replace H with 110. When we do that, we end up finding that the freshman class raised $3,430. Please pause the video and find out how much money was raised by the sophomore class. Welcome back. For the sophomore class, we are using the expression 12H plus 8K. H is 110, so we'll replace H with 110. And K is 90, so we'll replace K with 90. And when we do that, we end up with a final value of $2,040. Please feel free to modify this activity to better suit the needs of your classroom. For some classrooms, it might make more sense to start part 1 by grouping up the expressions that are equivalent. Then the students can match the stories on the left to the groups of equivalent expressions on the right. You can use part 2 to help your students see that the equivalent expressions are indeed equivalent. They can do this by plugging in the values for K and H for each equivalent expression and seeing that they all give the same answer in the end. We also recommend giving the students an opportunity to share their past experiences with fundraisers. Some of these experiences are very positive and some are not so much. Perhaps the students who've had more success could share some of their strategies with others. If you want, you can also have a discussion with your students about the importance of reforestation efforts. Thank you for joining us in this unit. We'll see you again in our next video where we explore Unit 5. Mahalo nui!